Hey folks, walk with me. I don't know if anyone else will know of both of these YouTube channels, but you might at least be familiar with one of them. Either Jim Can't Swim, aka JCS, or YeahMad. So, for those of you who don't know one or the other, Jim Can't Swim is, or has been, a very popular channel in the true crime region of things, where they do an amazing job of breaking down often, or maybe always, interrogation videos. It has a wonderful voiceover, great scripts, and it racks up like 20-30 million views a video oftentimes. If you're not familiar with YeahMad is a comedy channel based out of Australia, and they feature sort of a group of people. They're definitely not all comedians, but they're all funny. A group of people who just do different things. Oh wow, got really windy. Sorry. Who do different things to just sort of make each other laugh and or drink. So there's a big element of drinking. Holy cow. In the video. But yeah, it's just a fun, watch these people play games with each other. And sometimes get a little bit on the woozier end of things with their booze and say and do funny things. So there's been a lot of stuff that's come out recently about JCS, and it reminded me of something that happened not too long ago with YeahMad. So JCS put out this video after an incredible hiatus, a year or 2 years, something like that. Again, this is a channel getting tens of millions of views a video. So you'd think wildly profitable, right? Great potential there. And there's just this sort of incredible dead period. No pun intended. And when they did finally put out a video, this was just a few days ago, it had this, what seems to be an AI version of their old narrator, voiceover artist who everyone loved/loves. And then it randomly switched toward the end of the video to a female narrator, which was very AI seeming. And also the script writing did not seem up to snuff, and had a lot of people speculating that they were also AI generating at least some of the script, if not all of it. And so, like I said, this comes after a long period of them just going dark. Now, how does it tie into YeahMad? YeahMad, a few months back, went through what we eventually found out was a big overhaul of the original cast. So there was some disputes going on, I think predominantly over pay, and splits and stuff like that. And a bunch of the original cast left. And because the cast left, there were no people to make the video. And so they had to recast, and then shoot a bunch of stuff, and then get the channel back up. And in the meantime, when they were just completely dark, rumors started to run rampant. And there was in this space at least, a pretty well-known Reddit thread about claiming that they were making, I can't remember, some abysmal amount of money, $180 or $280, something like that, for a whole day's shoot, but that they were shooting several videos in a day, and just all this other stuff. And then in the meantime, the channel itself is completely dark. There's no info coming. And so people are running buck wild with this information from the Reddit thread. Eventually, the channel creator comes out and has to do a whole explanation of what happened, why the cast left, what they're doing to get the channel back up and running, and also point out ways in which the information in the Reddit post was incorrect, right? But this happened weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks after the channel had gone dark, and then weeks after rumors had started to run wild. Now, had they just done that when everything blew up, which I'm sure everything was chaotic and maybe they had more questions than answers at that point, but still putting out some form of communication of here's what's happening, here's what we know right now, and we'll be back with an update in X amount of time. That would have gone a long way for their fans and for everyone who then got wrapped up in all this other craziness. Jim Can't Swim is going through the same thing right now. There have been all these videos that are coming out about did they sell the channel? So that's the speculation, that they had this wildly successful channel, and because they're like, hey, on autopilot for the last few years or whatever, and this channel is still racking up hundreds of millions of views, and they sold it, and that's why it disappeared. And then that's also why when it came back, it seemed to have all of this AI generated stuff, right? Voiceover, script, whatever. But the channel creators or owners or whatever are completely silent about what's going on. Why there's these huge time gaps. I think this happened once before also. These huge time gaps between releasing videos, and then they had like a really not really communicative response about the AI stuff. They like took the video down and they're like, hey, heard you loud and clear, we'll sort this out, blah 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 blah. But yeah, so people are speculating that it was sold. The original voiceover person is the one who stepped up for some reason. Feels like it shouldn't be his job, but he stepped up and seems to sort of be alluding to the idea that like there were some personal things that cropped up. Who knows what that could be? We could speculate on a dozen of things that could be. And that there was personal stuff that cropped up with the original person or team. And he was still hopeful that they would get back to like their old ways. And yeah, that he wished that they would sort of not be doing this AI stuff. But didn't sort of like clarify any more on that. So once the YeahMad creator and owner did come out and clarify these things, they like got back into the swing, and that channel is once again flourishing. And it was just, I think it was like an 8-minute video that he put out. JCS should, it might be too late, but they should very quickly try to do what they can to learn from this. Get something out there from a person who can just level with people, say, here's what's going on. And here's what we're going to try to do, and we'll get back to you in X amount of time. Anything along those lines is better than nothing, unless you want to just let the channel die. And so it was interesting to me to see these two things kind of playing out relatively close to each other, and the one reminded me of the other. And I guess if there's a takeaway here, if you have anything of this nature, if you're a creator yourself, or if you're part of a company that, you know, could sort of go through some kind of crisis period or whatever, don't let, I guess it's that old adage of like, what is it? Don't let perfect be the enemy of good, or something like that. In other words, like, don't wait until you think you can put out the perfect message. Don't let that stop you from putting out some sort of a message now, an honest, good enough for now message. I think that's the takeaway here. Get whatever info you have out, and it might feel crappy, and it might feel like it's not enough, but it's a lot better than in the world of YouTube and Twitter and TikTok and Reddit, the rumor mill that will run rampant will probably cause way more chaos than if you just put something out that feels like it's not enough, but then you, as you have more information, you put it out and just stay in contact with your audience. You know, I think that's the takeaway here. Don't just go radio silent, because in that absence, there are people who will fill the void, and it'll probably be with stuff that you don't want it to be. All right, folks, so we got a little over 10-minute walk in today. Surprise, surprise. If you didn't walk with me, no worries. I appreciate you watching this far. And as always, I will see you in the next video.